I mean, what isn't a scary fact about Sabretooth? His whole life is like a big scary fact. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we're going to be looking at some of the scary points and facts of Sabretooth's long comic book life. This off-time Wolverine villain has been leaping around in the comics since the 1970s, making his first appearance randomly in Iron Fist issue number 14. Iron Fist, so random. In 1977. Since then, we have learned so much about this villain, his childhood, his rivalries, his motives, and pretty much all of those are scary. I promise you. Join me as we explore the dark aspects of Sabretooth and his character as we count down the top 10 scary Sabretooth facts you need to know. You need to know them. Alright, let's get counting. Number 10. Zombie. Yep, Sabretooth was also part of the Marvel Zombieverse. Though his part was small, he looked equally terrifying in his role. Sabretooth was one of the supervillain zombies who shows up to challenge the few power cosmic zombies over the recently slain body of Galactus. Unfortunately, all we get to see is Sabretooth looking ferocious in a panel, and we know that he likely met his end fighting Wolverine, but we don't even get to see his death, sadly. It appears to happen off panel. Nah, wanted to see that. Oh well, we gotta see him look scary. So, that's a scary fact. Number 9. Killed his brother. Growing up when Sabretooth's abilities manifested, he was just a kid. It was his brother's birthday and his brother refused to share a slice of pie with him. The two children squabbled as children are apt to do, and eventually the squabble turned into a fight. He ended up killing his brother, biting open his throat with his teeth as a result of his mutation manifesting. Kinda made him, you know, animalistic and violent. When his mom found the two boys, the color drained from her face, but young Victor assured her that they had only just been playing. Aw, playing to the death though, so not aw. Ugh, scary. I'll just say scary a bunch of times, then that'll make these facts scary, right? Number 8. Victim of child abuse. Growing up, Sabretooth's father abhorred him for being what he called a beast. A huge part of this was of course a result of Victor, killing his brother. As a result, his father would routinely torture him because of this, keeping him chained up and even pulling his fangs, claiming that he was attempting to save his son from his own uncontrollable animal instincts. Because young Victor boasted of a healing factor, his fangs would always grow back, and his father would therefore always keep pulling them. Ugh, sounds terrible. He tried to persuade his mother to release him from his chained prison in their cellar basement, but she refused, terrified of both her husband and of what her son had become. Number 7. Killed his father. Unsurprisingly, Victor ended up escaping the basement eventually, and he managed this by chewing off his own hand. All those Saw memories coming back to me. After he had successfully broken the chain that was holding on to his other one. He then confronted his mother and father in the house with the pliers that had been used to pull his own teeth. In revenge, he killed his father and then rewarded himself with a slice of pie, running off into the night with his disembodied hand clutched in his other. Every time someone cuts off a hand or a leg or a foot or something, I'm always like, I feel like Saw started a lot of this. I don't know if that's true though. Probably someone else that inspired Saw. Number 6. Brutally killed Wolverine's lover. Sabretooth and Wolverine have seemingly always been villains, but those who don't know their history might be wondering exactly why this is. The feud can be linked back to Victor's family. Wolverine was once in love with Victor's sister, Clara, which soured their relationship somewhat. Add in the fact that Wolverine just generally doesn't really like or trust Sabretooth, and you've got some reason why the two tangle up so much. But Sabretooth also started hunting Wolverine after his little brother was killed by Wolverine, his little brother Saul. Victor used to torture Saul every day on his birthday, and when he found out that Logan had taken that from him, he decided to transfer the tradition to him, treating Logan like his little brother and causing him grief every birthday instead. Like a lot of grief, like a lot. The first official birthday surprise that Logan received from Victor was revealed in the X-Men Origins Sabretooth story. Sabretooth raped and killed Silver Fox, Wolverine's lover at the time, and much later in Origins we also find out that beyond being a whole plot, this was part of the ongoing feud between the two mutants. Sabretooth would continue to show up on Wolverine's birthday every year just to beat him up. True story. Number 5. Clones. What's more scary than one Sabretooth? Several of them, of course. During Wolverine Volume 3, issue 55, it had appeared that Wolverine had killed Sabretooth. Killed him with a blade that would mean that he couldn't regenerate anymore, basically cancelled out his powers. But later on it was established that this actually wasn't Sabretooth at all, but was actually a clone of Victor Creed. Turned out that Romulus, who had created the clone, had not just created one, but had created multiple. Yikes! Later on, Sabretooth would make his triumphant return to the comics and reveal he'd just been biding his time, waiting in the shadows for the opportune time to create more havoc in Wolverine's life. Oh no. But oh, it's true, it's true. You think you kill a guy, turns out you don't, because that's comics. Number 4. His obsession with Wolverine. So, Like, Sabretooth's obsession with Wolverine has now evolved to be about more than just the past that they share. As the comics go on, it kind of gets more and more intense actually. Sabretooth is straight up stalker material when it comes to just how much he longs to be Wolverine's #1 arch nemesis. He's like, you can't have any other arch nemesis, it can only be me. Not only does he find him every year on his birthday and try to kill him, but he also kills those that go after Wolverine to protect what he has labeled as his. Only he can kill Wolverine, I guess. Wolverine is his to torment and no one else's. Aw, how sweet. Victor Creed made sure this was known in issue 10 of the Wolverine series out of 1988. He painfully dispatched a pair of thugs who had threatened Wolverine's life on his birthday, wrapping them up like a birthday present and leaving them with an impromptu birthday card that read, "Nobody kills you but me, especially today." Possessive much? Oh my gosh. Also, I don't know, was that the best present that Wolverine's gotten from Victor Creed? It might have been the best one because I feel like it wasn't like a dead lover or something at least. Number 3. He enjoys killing. One of the scariest things about Sabretooth as a villain is that he thoroughly enjoys his kills, especially the women. It's really twisted. In the last few years of comics, we've seen more of a transition in his character. After the events of Axis, he was one of the few that actually stayed flipped for a while. For 3 years, he worked hard at redeeming himself and becoming a hero. Now he's back to his villainous ways, but it was astonishing to me that this was even possible given just how many people Victor has murdered and how much he thoroughly seems to relish killing. He's often depicted after a kill as being covered in blood and looking like he's having the time of his life. He is the animal instinct, unbidden, unashamed, and unchained incarnate. Number 2. The devil set him loose. So you might now be wondering, but if Sabretooth was good for so long and was on a path of redemption, why did he change? Good question. He did enjoy killing, but he had grown past that in the aftermath of Axis and was ready to try to make amends. During the end of 2017's Weapon X series, however, we find out just how this all shook out and how things sort of got switched back. He had taken over leadership of the Weapon X crew, turning them into sort of anti-heroes. This was after Creed had stepped into Logan's shoes for a while following his apparent death, becoming an Avenger and an X-Man for a time. During his time with Weapon X, he ended up sacrificing himself to bring back his and Mystique's son, Graydon Creed, who had died from hell. But the devil was displeased by this, knowing that Sabretooth would feel justified in what he had done and therefore torturing him in hell would just simply not be as fun. So the devil sent him back to the land of the living, but made one big evil change. He freed Victor of any semblance of morality that he had built, turning him back into a vicious and savage monster. Ooh, you know as well if the devil's like, this is a great idea, that's a scary thing that's happening. If the devil stands by it, it's probably gonna be scary. Number 1. Trapped eternally in Krakoa. During the first meeting of the Quiet Council of Krakoa in House of X, one of the first matters brought up was the judgment of Sabretooth. The Quiet Council was seeking to establish what their laws should be while also deciding what to do with Victor. In the end, they determined that they would abide by 3 major laws: make more mutants, murder no man, human, and to respect the sacred land of Krakoa. As Victor had broken the new laws, Xavier offered him 2 choices: a chance to redeem himself or the option of being made an example of. Victor remained defiant and stubborn in regards to being judged and cursed those of the Quiet Council, swearing that he would kill them all. For this, they decided they had no option but to punish him. His punishment was to remain deep inside Krakoa in a conscious stasis for forever, or until the Quiet Council felt inspired to give him another chance. This to me is just one of the most terrifying things to have happened to Sabretooth. He's just like snug, deep inside the land of Krakoa, unable to move but still aware, still able to think, alive but unable to do anything with his life. It creeps me out. And who knows when, if ever, we will get to see Sabretooth return again. Though I mean it's comics, so we probably will, but maybe not for a while. Also, that's a creepy way to leave someone. Thank you so much for watching, Nerd Squad. I hope you learned some disturbing things about Victor Creed, but also hopefully they didn't disturb you too much. He's a pretty intensely evil guy for the most part, but I also love that he has a backstory to kind of justify how messed up he is, and that he still occasionally tries to redeem himself. Like, it's pretty impressive. It's a pretty deep character. Is Sabretooth your favorite Wolverine villain? If not, who is? Do you prefer Sabretooth as a hero or as a villain? Do you think he got what he deserved in House of X, or should he have been given some leniency? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it's time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, top top 10 scary Victor Zsasz facts you need to know. Drew Sutton comments, would you be afraid of Zsasz if you ran into him on the streets of Gotham? If you run into Victor Zsasz and aren't afraid of him, you belong on the streets of Gotham, or possibly in Arkham for your own safety. Good point, Drew. Though I never think of Arkham as a safe place, whether it be for staff or prisoners. There is a lot of mistreatment of the prisoners, and there's also a ton of breakouts that happen, so it seems like a pretty dangerous place. DT Comics says, anyone ever notice that when Batman is fighting a supervillain that is highly trained, he can take them out easy, but a villain that has no skill, he struggles? Like, WTF? That is a really good observation, actually. That does happen a lot. I feel like maybe trained people have a certain way of moving, and maybe just untrained people are more unpredictable, so it's hard for Batman to like know what they're gonna do. But it is always pretty crazy when Zsasz almost takes down bats in a fight. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm kinda into it. Victor's determination to keep getting up seems to be a skill in and of itself somehow. And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts and feel shouted out in a future list. And you can also like, sub, and ring that bell on your way down there too. You can do it if you want, if you love us as much as we love you. I don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. You stay nerdy, YouTube.